What's good, Texans fans? Texans fan of rehab here, man. I haven't done this in a minute, but I figured there's enough motion going on right now with the team. I got to get back to it. So, look, we got to address a couple of things that's going on. It's, of course, a big trade that went down. Some other news that's kind of fluff or whatever. So let's jump right into it, man. First and foremost, there was a little controversy that was going on earlier today where people were tripping about the fact that C.J. Stroud did a press conference wearing a Seattle Mariners ball cap. And, the Houston media is a certain type of way, man, sometimes when it comes to picking little things to be fickle about, man. And so it's just kind of weird to me, they don't seem to understand the concept that, bruh sometimes like to have a little style, a little flair, get down in the way that they get down. I just want you to understand something, I got this nice Houston Oilers cap. This is something that I've had for a while. I didn't get it because I like the Tennessee Titans. I got it because it's a reflection back to the old school, oil derrick, just bent up a little bit. It's got the H-Town old school logo on the back or whatever. It's a tight little hat, man. But, figured I'd go ahead and get that. But, of course, people in the media here want the Texans fans or the Texans players, rather, to represent, the city or whatever. They really want them to kind of show a little hometown, a home state flair. And as long as he's not wearing Cowboys gear, something to that effect, I mean, what is he really doing wrong, right? So, he's, of course, a West Coast boy. And, being that he's a West Coast boy, he might want to get down with something that's more, closer to home from time to time. I think he's made it very well known that he loves his Lakers. He holds them in prestige above the Rockets. So I don't expect for him to change his fandom. If he's been a fan of the Lakers since he was a little boy, so be it. You know what I'm saying? And I would expect that he's also probably been a fan of one of those teams that's on the West Coast as far as football is concerned. But since he's the franchise quarterback here in town, of course, he's going to rep for the Texans, right? Well, it could have been worse, right? I've also heard some speculation that, him wearing the Seattle Mariners cap was an homage to Nipsey because, Nipsey was part of a certain affiliation, we'll say. And, if you from my era, there was a time where, you rocked some caps because they were affiliated or, because they were stylish and they could have been affiliated with something else, right? But it is what it is. I mean, shoot, it could have been worse. If you remember these, it could have been something like this, but that's not what he was rocking. Long story short, and the point that I'm making, it really doesn't matter because on Sundays, he's rocking with our boys, right? So let's go ahead and get into the rest of this, man. That's nonsense. We're going to get past that, but John Metchie got traded today, man, and this was a significant move that the Texans finally made, with the roster cuts approaching. We're going into the third week of the preseason. This is an important time, man. We got to get down to the 53-man roster. So we're looking at a couple of spots where the roster is stacked, running back and wide receiver in particular. And so for folks that are struggling with understanding why John Metchie got traded, let me just go ahead and help you out a little bit. First and foremost, we have our first two guys. We have, Nico Collins. We have Christian Kirk. They're solidified. They're going to be there. We got, Higgins, who we just drafted, and Noel, who we just drafted. They're solidified. They're going to be there. Now you got to start thinking, okay, well, who are the ones that are, on the bubble? On the bubble, of course, was going to be Metchie, Hutchinson, and you got Braxton Berrios. Watson as well. Excuse me, I forgot about him. So beyond that, last year they only kept 7. So you got the first 4 solidified. Now you got, 4 guys fighting for those last 2 or maybe 3 spots, right? So realistically, you got to look at what are the factors that they're bringing to the table. Special teams, how they're performing in special teams. Well, Braxton Berrios, in my opinion, has been showing very consistently that he's probably our best punt returner that's not named Jalen Noel. So there's that, right? We got to factor that in. I watched Watson, try to catch punts. It was not a pretty thing. For somebody that gets paid to catch the ball, he was struggling out there trying to get adjusted to, the line of sight where the ball might be coming down or whatever. So I don't really see him as a factor with getting a roster spot, but potentially. Xavier Hutchinson, he's been on the squad for a while, so he's got an opportunity to kind of steal that last spot, and then Metchie, right? So the thing that you got to consider with Metchie and why he was a tradable asset, if you will, is that Metchie is in the last year. He's going into the last year of his rookie deal. That's significant, right? So you got him going to the last year of his rookie deal. His reputation is definitely bigger than what his production has been while he's been on the squad. You got to remember, he had cancer for the first year that he was on the squad. The team stuck by him while he went through his cancer treatment. Second year, he was trying to spend some time. He got his clearance. He was trying to spend time to recover his body, get back up to strength the way that he was. And then last year, hey, he had a full go opportunity to get out the field and show, is he that second round talent that we expected him to be? Well, he didn't really show us that, right? Like it was an opportunity that was there. We definitely had the opportunity with, Nico going down for a period of time, Tank going down at the end of the year, and then Stephon Diggs going down for an extended period of time. Like, there was an opportunity for Hutchinson to stand tall and be that guy, right, and represent for us. But, I mean, really, he was just okay. I'm not gonna crap on him, but he was okay. He was okay. He was sufficient. But what we need at this point is somebody as a second round talent going into his last year. That person's got to be pushing, Christian Kirk for playing time. And we just drafted 2 rookies that definitely are going to get some playing time. They've shown that they've been consistent on the field. So he becomes a tradable asset. And it's no surprise to me that Philadelphia is the team to make that trade with. I mean, they have a good relationship going on right now. We just traded Kenyon Green for CJ and a couple throw-in picks, right? Well, essentially what this trade accomplished was that we were able to get a tight end, just kind of help the depth on the tight end position. I think we got enough tight ends as it is. But we got a trade for a tight end, Harrison Bryant, I believe his name is. We send them over John Metchie. He gets an opportunity to get, a new fresh start with a new team, potentially be able to latch on by a couple more years if he can get an extension or maybe get a whole new contract or something like that. But, it's just a shot in the dark for him now over there. And the same thing for Harrison Bryant. But we were able to swap those picks that were related back and forth back to us. So, that's nullified and voided out. So essentially what we've accomplished is we've traded CJ and we traded for Harrison Bryant, and then in return we gave them our second worst offensive lineman, and we gave them John Metchie. I think it was a fair trade on both sides. So, what we have with CJ, if he's healthy, he can be out there and contribute and be a valuable asset out there as a safety position. And then we have, whatever we can get out of Harrison Bryant if he happens to make the 53-man roster, man. So I think this was a good trade. I don't think that the sky's falling. There's nothing to really be tripping or concerned about for our Texans fans out here when it comes to John Metchie. I know people have these weird allegiances to certain players for some reason. Mills is one. There's the Mills Mafia, and yes, he's a quality backup. I will give him that. But there are still people that are hollering that he's better than CJ, and that's nonsense, right? Like, at some point in time, we got to recognize that. But there are people that still hold a certain allegiance to Davis Mills and making sure that he gets there. Same thing with John Metchie. If you go back even further, when we had Kubiak here, there's people that had a certain allegiance to Kubiak. There's been all kind of people through this transition that people have had weird allegiances to. When these guys just, it's good that we can get from bad to better, or from bad to good, but we're trying to get to best, right? Like, it's more than just getting to better. We're trying to get to best. And I think this team is keenly focused on trying to become Super Bowl champion. I think they're putting everything into that. They're making moves and transactions that state that, whether it seems a little bit uncomfortable at times. These are the type of transactions that have to occur in order for you to improve your team. I know people were panicked when we traded Laramie Tunsil. Hey, look what we got now. Ariante Ursary is looking pretty qualified to handle the job, and he's just a rookie. So you give these guys time to get into their positions, get comfortable, do what they're going to do. Give it time. This is still very early in the ball game. Hey, matter of fact, week 3 is going to be here in just a second. Season's going to start right after that. We have 17 games, 17 full games ahead of us before the playoffs. I promise you, this team is going to look different by week 17 than they did in week 1. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying I've been watching football for a long time. This is the tempo and the flow of how the season's gonna go. But anyway, man, I just wanted to tap in. I heard all of this commotion going on. I just figured I had to go ahead and chunk in my 2 cents, man. I wanted to tap back into this thing. I know I've been gone for a long time. I want to get back into the flow of doing this, get my pages going again. TikTok has been doing well. I appreciate everybody that comes and supports over there. But hey, I do this over on YouTube. I do this over on X or Twitter. I even have an Instagram page. So follow me at all of those pages, man. Texans Fan and Rehab. The only one that's a little bit off, a little bit different is the Twitter, because I dropped the I in N and I had to go Texans Fan in, the letter N, Rehab. But outside of that, give me a follow. Give me a share. Give me a like. Give me your comments. Hey, chop it up with me if you happen to see me out at the game. Hey, meet me, greet me. It's all good, man. Oh, one more thing. I want to tell y'all this real quick. I had a pretty cool experience. I want to share that with y'all. I'm going to post it up here on YouTube pretty soon, but I got the opportunity to go to the last preseason game against the Panthers and get the on-field opportunity. And look, I know that we only got one home game this year for the preseason. It is what it is, but just kind of give you something to look out for next year, right? For whatever reason, this game wasn't that popular, wasn't oversold at all, wasn't crowded and whatnot. So it is what it is. You could get tickets at a good price real late in the day on game day, right? And so one of the things that I looked up on was I was looking for just some lower level seats, section 1 type of seats. I already had a discounted deal for some tickets, some tickets way up in the nosebleed for pretty cheap, but I wanted to see as far down as I could get. Let me get as close to the team as I can get. And I clicked the wrong button. I ended up on TickPicks, but I ended up on their package section for the Texans. And lo and behold, they had a package for $100 that allowed for me to get on the field before the game. I could be down there for the intros. I could be down there for the national anthem and the flag display, all of that stuff. I could get out there and take my video and, see everything in real time as the players approach coming out of the tunnel. They run across the field. They take a knee right in front of you. They do their prayers, run off the field and whatnot. It was a pretty dope experience to see a whole lot of everything going on. Now, I wish that I could have done this during the regular season, but I'm going to be honest with you. I looked at the prices during the regular season. It was $400 to $480 for this experience. And I can tell you, I don't think it's worth $400 and $480 worth of money to be on the field and take these pictures for a short period of time. I think I might have been on the field maybe 15, 20 minutes. Spent a lot more time waiting under the tunnel than that. It was cool. It wasn't really, it's a whole lot of hurry up and wait. But as far as the experience on the field, getting the vibes, seeing the fans, soaking in all the atmosphere and being right there on the field to be able to experience it. Hey, I'm going to tell you just like this. As a Texans fan, this is something that was well worth the experience, at least for once in your life. Give it a shot, okay? And if you're going to do it, probably be cheaper to do it in the preseason. Anyway, I just want to share that with you guys, man. I just want to tap back in one more time, like I said. And Texans Fan and Rehab, I'm out, man. Let's have a good year this year. Keep everybody nice and healthy. I'll check back with you boys later on.